Hello and welcome to another episode of the Tampa Bay Arts Passport Podcasts. My name is Avery Anderson. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, the Tampa Bay Arts Passport is your insider, behind the scenes look at all things arts in Tampa Bay. We offer deals, discounts, and behind the scenes. So please like us, follow, subscribe. Today's conversation is with Erica Sutherlin from the studio at 620 and Clareann Despain from Powerstories. They are partnering together on a new production of Cadillac Crew. We're going to talk about what that partnership looks like, what it means for smaller organizations to really work and exist in our artistic community right now. And we're also going to just talk about really deep things like why have women struggled to have their stories told for 60 years? Why do white audiences still not support Black stories? All of those things. So this is one that you'll probably want to grab a cup of coffee for, sit down, enjoy, and give it a listen. Thank you so much. All right, we are here today. Wait, Clareann, how do you say your last name?
Despain.
Despain, thank you. I've never actually said it out loud, and I'm
totally fine.
like, oh.
It's, yeah.
I have, and wrong. So, it's okay.
How did you say it?
I don't know, Kelly. We're not going to talk about
I wanna
it. What
talk
we do
about
know
it.
is that I know how to say it the right way now.
All right. My favorite typo is despair.
Oh, no, I spelled it correctly.
Clareann Despair.
I feel like we shouldn't even go back and redo an intro. Like, we should just dive in from here. That was our intro to this point. To clarify, if you missed all that, we're here with Erica Sutherlin and Clareann Despain. Hello, how are you?
Hi, I'm well. How are you?
This is about you, not me.
I know.
I'm asking the questions here.
Wow.
Don't put this back on me.
Whoa.
Well-
We're collaborators.
How are you?
You know what? I'm great,
Oh,
Erica.
wonderful.
How are you today?
I am delightful. That person over there?
Doesn't exist, apparently.
Apparently. So-
It's just a voice.
You're right.
Great, I'll see myself out now. No, I'm well, thank you for asking. I'm a little tired because we're filming on a Monday and the weekends are long. And like, life is tiring right now, personally. And I know people are listening to this in October, but like Creative Pinellas just lost funding and that's been emotionally tiring. I'm just tired is what I am.
I'm tired.
Yeah.
I'm exhausted. It's so, yeah. I also have not had a day off. So,
Yeah.
I'm tired.
Since I
busy.
met you like 3 years ago. Clareann, how are you?
Likewise, tired. We loaded in Ada and the Engine yesterday, so, you know, heading into tech. Woohoo! For a show we're not here to talk about.
No.
But, yeah. And then, you know, can I swear?
Yeah.
The world is fucking bullshit. So that's kind of exhausting.
Yeah.
I had a great laugh the other day.
What was it?
I got an email because today was supposed to be the state grant panel review. Oh
Yeah.
And I got I got my number. I was number 40 in line and things like that. And then I got an email from my grant writer. She had sent it out to all her clients, and she's like, "Yeah, so the state postponed the grant review panel." And I don't know what it is. It's just if you go to the website, it just says postpone. And so I responded,
Because how else are you supposed to respond?
I mean, this is year 3. I haven't been funded, so it's like, she wrote me back, she's like, "You are by far the best response I've had."
Well, because what are you supposed to do?
Right.
Like we're left in a position. I'm sorry, we're not derailing the whole conversation, but that's where we're going.
It's important.
So we're talking to fill everyone in who's listening, who's like, "What are they talking about?" We're talking about the state of Florida arts grant that most organizations have received for several years. 2 years ago, Governor DeSantis decided to just cut it completely. Last year, they drastically raised the threshold for organizations, which then both of your organizations became ineligible because of it. Powerstories and Studio at 620, in Erica's case, by 1 point. And now we've just postponed review. So yeah, it's like, what are you supposed to do at this point?
Well, if we're having like an honest conversation about it, and I think it leads into, our conversation that we're going to, our discussion today. I mean, so yes, you have to go through the emotional stages, right? You go through your anger, your sadness, your depression, your tears, all of that stuff. I fortunately have had that opportunity a year ago to process all of those emotions. And so after you do the crying and the anger, then you have this option. We can shut it down and continue to move on with our lives. And that is an option, and it's viable, and it's okay. Like if you make that choice. And I have been at that place many times in the last year, even where we sit now, even today. Or you can look at history and look at artists in history. And when history or the world got just a little bit uncomfortable, disfractured, disenfranchised, a little crazy, unknown, scary, and look at what the artists did to help to create civility, to bring it back, to balance out the scales. We're never gonna sit in a 50-50 world, but we have to bring the pendulum back. Like, I think we've had some extremes, and now we just need to find that center that swings back and forth in the center. And I think artists, creatives are the ones that do that. If you look at history, it doesn't matter if you try to shut it down, if you try to erase it, which we'll talk about today. Artists always show up somehow. And so that's what's gonna happen.
Yeah. Clareann, I want to give you a chance. Any thoughts on just how you've processed things recently in the state of this world and in Florida? And
Oh, so many thoughts, but what I want to do is actually what Erica just said, because the artists are not going to go away. We're not going to stop telling stories. What's going to go away are the larger organizations that provide full-time work.
Yeah.
Like that's what's at risk. The arts themselves, the artists, aren't at risk, but the livelihoods for many people who create arts, and for what's the word I'm looking for? For a power structure that's all about job creation, that's a really weird way to go, killing those jobs. But the art doesn't stop. The art is vital. You know, so many people who have talked to me are sick of hearing this, but has anyone read the children's book Frederick by Leo Leone?
I don't think so.
Oh my God! So this is my husband says I'm sort of emotionally and intellectually and dispositionally 5 years old, and that is true. So it's a children's book. It's beautiful. It's a story about a family of field mice, right? And it's the middle of the summer, and the family is gathering all of the grain and all of the food and taking it back to the burrow, except for Frederick, who sits on a rock with his face turned to the sky and just sits. And his family's like, Frederick, why aren't you helping us? We've got to get ready for winter. And he's like, I am. I'm getting ready for winter. And they're like, what the fuck? Except they don't say that because it's a children's book. Anyway, so we get to the dead of winter, right? And we're in the burrow, and the food stores are running out. And it's dark, and it's cold, and everyone's miserable. And they're like, Frederick, it's time to show up with whatever the hell you were prepping for us, right? And so Frederick starts to tell the story of the feeling of the sun on his face, and tells the story of all the colors of the spring and the summer, right? And he sustains his family through the winter, through his artistry, through his storytelling. And so I think a lot about our need to, in spite of everything, preserve whimsy, preserve our softness. We need to hold on to that, preserve our instinct to storytelling, and to preserve our peace. I keep talking about pockets of joy. Like, where do we find those? We need pockets of joy as artists so that we can continue, right, to offer pockets of joy to everyone else in what is undoubtedly going to be a really crap winter. So, so that's my yes and.
That's your Farmer's Almanac version of we're having a crap winter coming up.
Yeah.
No, but and we need to prepare now.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and I think we have been.
Yeah.
I do. So, Yeah.
And I think that leads into, as Erica said, our conversation today. I mean, we're going to talk about whatever we want to talk about, but the reason I asked y'all is because Power Stories and Studio at 620 are producing together Cadillac Crew.
Yes.
Yeah.
We are.
So-
This is Clareann and I's second time around producing something together.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about Cadillac Crew, and then we'll just dive into, I want to know about the partnership, but let's start with just what is the show a little bit.
Well, let's start with why Clareann chose the show and then pitched it to me. So I'm going to kick it over to Clareann first, because Clareann and Power Stories are the antithesis of why this creation has happened. Like I tell everybody, I'm a brown woman. So you bring me something that talks about brown women, 9 out of 10 times I'm saying yes to that. But also the historical content and the bigger themes in the show. But before I start, I'd love for us to start about why.
All right.
Yeah.
So, before I even started at Power Stories, when I knew I was coming to Power Stories, I wanted to make sure, right, that we weren't just telling, I'm going to be frank about this, white lady stories. So that was a piece of the puzzle. And then when I picked up the script, as I was starting to look at a variety of things, I actually had Erica in my head as I was reading it. She's like, I'm sick of Black trauma. I was like, all right, where are these joyful stories? It was like, wow, yeah. And so I read this play. And I was like, okay, as soon as I get to Power Stories, I want to do this. I want to do this with Erica. I want to do this with the studio at 620. We knew that was coming. And so, yeah. But what's super exciting about the story for me, and we really, to be honest, I built the season theme around wanting to do this particular play, Hidden Herstories, because it starts out, right, with 4 activists working as part of the civil rights movement, but working particularly on women's rights within it, right? And they've worked really hard to get Rosa Parks to come down and speak, right? And on the eve of this engagement, the men who are running the civil rights movement decide Rosa Parks doesn't need to speak. She needs to sit behind them, right? And these
She'll
women
speak later.
Yeah.
At a smaller event.
Right. But she doesn't speak at the big one. And so this play picks up why we don't know the names of many, many women involved in the civil rights movement. So that's saying to me.
Yeah, it's a layered story. So that's the A plot, right, that drives us through the story. And for me, that's important. I also think what I loved about the story are the subplots and the sub-themes that we talk about. So the story or the play is titled Cadillac Crew. And when you do your research on Cadillac Crew, and most people, I won't say most people, I'll say a lot of people have never heard of Cadillac Crews. And the work that was done with Cadillac Crews, and Cadillac Crews is simply during the time of the civil rights movement and desegregation, women being white women and black women, would get inside Cadillacs and drive through the South and do their best to be a part of the desegregation of the South, which is very dangerous. One, being women driving through towns, and then being women of color, and then being white women with women of color. So there's so many different layers, and these women sustained some brutal moments. They had success in places. So the whole story about that, I think what Tori wanted us to do was give us a nugget and tell us to go research and learn more, right? Because she does not necessarily talk to you about, it's not a teaching script, it's a script like, hey, did you know that this is a thing or was a thing? And the way I want to speak to women and the erasure of women in history is through looking at the civil rights movement, looking at the women's rights movement, and looking at how we talk about women, right? We start off, they have a name, and then the next time around they the name seems to fall, or like the first name and it's just the last name, and then eventually they just become she and her. And like that's a problem. And how do we rectify that problem? Well, first we got to speak to it. So she's using these beautiful vehicles and these women, this era. This is big because most people can go, oh, the civil rights movement. Oh yeah, I know about that. And then we're like, okay, great. And then she's using Rosa Parks as Rosa Parks. Yeah, everybody knows about Rosa Parks. Correct. So what happens when Rosa Parks, who is this phenom, is told that she won't be speaking at the big meeting because he, whoever he is, needs to be the one that's heard. Yeah. Right? So I love that about the story. And about these 4 women, these 4 black women who are, one, preparing for that. We get the news, and now we're watching them deal with how they feel about that. Like, and there's unrest happening outside in the world anyway. So they are unraveling on the inside. They are questioning themselves as women leaders. Like, who am I? How do I want to show up? Can I show up? Is it safe for me to show up? And so each one has a different perspective and journey.
Does it ever drive you both batty thinking of that 60 plus years ago, women were not getting to tell their stories, were not getting to have their spotlight. 60 years later, these stories are still not being told. They're still not, men are still dominating the entertainment industry, still dominating who gets to write plays, who gets to produce, and the fact that we're calling this a hidden story. Is that frustrating at all?
You want to go?
But yes, of course. You could feel me vibrating, right?
Yeah,
You know me so well. Yes, it's absolutely maddening. And we can't even have a woman president. Like, come on. Like, sexism is one of those where it's still there. It's always with us, like racism is, like, like ableism is there. It's all there. It's always with us. The fight is always uphill, and that's absolutely maddening. However, something I love about this piece and other pieces that we're looking at is that there is something beautiful in coming together, in developing relationships in the struggle, in finding our connections, and finding our ways to move forward together. And so that's, that doesn't suck. That's a pocket of joy.
Yeah.
Erica is a pocket of joy, is really what I have to say.
So is Clareann.
Shut up.
Yeah, Avery, it's frustrating. It most definitely is, right? Because I think the frustrating thing is the cycle. Just like with everything that has happened. Just like when we were experiencing, the world globally was experiencing COVID, and the Black Lives Matter movement, we went to this place where, oh no, everyone matters. And yes, and I'm saying that in a positive way. Like, so let us support and celebrate Black people. Let us make sure that we're having, the right percentage of, people of color in our organizations and our leadership. Let's put out these initiatives. Yes, 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 yes. And what's interesting is that's not the first time that has happened in history. It's not the second time, right? So it becomes cyclic, and you're like, the why, right? Why can't we just be like, okay, let's put these things in place and then let's grow from that? Because I agree in certain things, like I should be able to just be on my own merit and my own greatness to do X, Y, and Z, to be hired for X, Y, and Z, not to feel like I'm gonna die, right? Just right in my country that I live in. So I should. You're absolutely right. I agree with that. So, but then we take away, and that's the issue. It's the removal of that. It's the I think that's been enough.
Yeah.
I'll pick that up, put that back over there. So it's the undoing. So then we have to have the same conversations about the why. Then it comes back around to the doing. And that's frustrating to me. It's frustrating to me, as you said, Clareann, that we don't have a female president. And why not? Women have great balance and power and understanding softness and understanding the hard side of power, because there is soft power and then there's hard power. And I think fear, like, when do we stop being afraid of just being? Like, I'm not taking away from you. What I'm asking, I'm asking us to be it all. Even in our conversations about privilege, no one is saying do away with privilege. Heck no. Or truly hell no. I want some of that. Like, just give me some. We can all be together and just be up in privileged world, right? But yeah, I'm frustrated with the undoing, the redoing, because what happens is you also become desensitized. And I think we're living in a great era of being desensitized, and it's a masterful game. Kudos. Because we now, as I was listening to something that was talking about, I think it was a play actually, that was talking about what the cell phones do. No, it was at a concert. And I was like, that is so true. But we are desensitized in a different way than we've ever been. And it's a huge possibility that we never make our way back. Well, we can't go backwards, so we never open up to what this new thing is. Like, the new thing is love. Like, the new thing is connection and real, authentic connection. The new thing is, I see you, I'm gonna anchor this love, even though the wind is blowing us left and right? That's the new thing, because we're not going backwards. The new thing is, okay, we have these phones that really do control us. We have these laptops, this technology that we have our AI. I love my AI. I've named my AI. I love him. His name is Eric. I named him after my brother.
Oh my gosh, Eric and Erica working together.
Yes. He helps me with my daily flow. I appreciate that. But I'm also not a big social person, so there's a gap for me. Like, I understand the purpose. But like, how do we anchor now going forward? I think I'm always a person, when we were having conversation, I think you'll see and find out, like, yeah, we did that. Yep, we're upset. Yep. So now what? I like the now what. Now we can do this story together. Yeah. Now we have interviews that we are able to talk about the story or what's next, right? Now it's so absurd that we laugh, right? Like, it's crazy.
Yeah. I feel like there's 17 different ways we could take this conversation and things we can dive into. I want to dive into something Clareann said that I think is so profound and that I don't think we talk about enough of, I am personally tired of seeing Black stories of pain, and why can't we have Black stories of joy?
Well, that was Erica who said that to me. That was Erica speaking. That was Erica in my head.
Well, because pain is profitable. And you have to understand, if you're going to delve into pain, then you also have to have its healer. You have to have the salve or the balm that's going to help heal that thing. So it's not about us not talking about it. It has to have its balance. It needs to be a spectrum, right? So we honor, we learn about, we know. Let me take my little, I always got my little everything on, but we honor, we have to talk about, we have to understand. It's okay for us to talk about where we come from, what happened, what occurred to a population of people. It's okay. It's also okay for you today to go, that is horrible. I'm so upset that happened to us. We should never do that again. Absolutely. We recognize it, we move on. But where's the spectrum? Where's the healing? Where's the other stories? And Cadillac Crew is not a ha ha ha. It's not a comedy. There is pain inside there, right? But what it is not is, it doesn't beat you over your head with the inequities. It doesn't, I mean, there are just so many more versions of Blackness than just our journey here and those years. And I never, ever want us to forget about that. That's one of the things that I love about our Jewish community and in dealing with the Holocaust. They never, ever let you forget. And I don't think we should ever forget. But they have a spectrum of stories that they celebrate. And that's what we need. We need that.
I'm curious, and maybe there's not an answer to this, because I don't know. Like, as two producers of local organizations, how do we get audiences to understand that message? That stories of diverse folks can be more about pain? Because, I mean, I have had many audience members come up to me and say, I just want August Wilson plays. I just want the stories that I'm used to, that show the narrative I'm used to. How do we get the community and the ticket buyers to start understanding that we need healing, that there's more than just the pain?
You want to go with that one? I'll go on.
That's a hard one.
Yeah.
That's a hard one, right?
I don't know the answer to it. Like, I genuinely don't know how we...
I think that's the bazillion-dollar question, but maybe you've got an instinct and I'm here to learn. But I would say that's...
Take out notes, Claire.
No. Write this down. We're recording. Great. I'll come back to the tape later.
And also, this is also a problem, right? We are two white people being like, please teach us, Erica, as a black woman.
Shit. Yeah, we are. God damn it.
Like,
There we go
that's
again.
What happens all the time is
All
white
the
people
time.
turn to our friends of color and be like, how do we connect with you more? How do we be more diverse and help you?
Well, let's reframe it. Let's reframe this, right? Because we're speaking about, currently we're speaking about, just because I am a black woman, we're speaking about Blackness, and our stories. But let's look at our LGBTQ plus community. How many stories do they have of joy? How did their stories start to enter into the world? Through pain. And I got it, and I get it. We have to have the pain point, because we need to get it out. Well, that's part of the healing process, right? How many of their stories are wrapped around the AIDS epidemic?
I mean, I could watch Angels in America every day and just walk away satisfied and joyful.
Yeah, right.
No, but you're right. That's the problem.
Right. You got how many of their stories are seeded with pain and not their joy, and what you're starting to see more of now are joyful stories, right? I think too, and so I say that just to say that it's not. I mean, you're just speaking to a black woman, great. So we're talking about Blackness in that respect, but there's so many different other subcategories like that. I think that you're right. There's no definite answer, but what is changing, and I think what we get to do as leaders is be a part of that change, is that while we are unsure how to get this generation into the seats in theater, into entertainment spaces, right? That's a conversation. This current generation, the Gen Zers, the younger millennials up till now, they entertain differently, right? So we as leaders are like, how do we get them to come support us? But you have to start understanding and listening to what they're asking for. They want different stories. So what you were seeing, I think, is the transition from the boomers, the way life was in some particular point in time, and this is what they're accustomed to. This is why these stories are designed that way. August Wilson, the Cycle series, is not a depressive series. What he did is, August Wilson took the life that he knew, broke it up, and said, this is an aspect of Black America. this is not all of Black America. The problem is that when we give out an aspect of a part of a culture, we like to take it and go, this is the culture. Just like when people say, oh, that person was acting Black. Well, what is that? What is acting Black? Or, you know, this person was so flamboyant. Well, what is that to you? Define that, because if we can define that, I'm pretty sure you will find that what you're saying lives in a stereotype. And the stereotype is the things that we need to let go of, right? And I just think that the nicest way to say it is that, you know, there are generations that are transitioning off the planet, and there are new generations that are being born into the world, and they are asking for different things. And it is our job as leaders to listen and then to give them that. And it's uncomfortable because at the end of the day, it does hurt and play around and makes our bottom dollar questionable. And so you have to decide as a leader, do I hold on to my original fan base and program to them while alienating another base? Or do I reach to that one and then alienate this? Where's my balance? So that's why you're starting to see a lot of people have these very interesting seasons that may not make sense, right? You may have, O'Neal play, and then you may have a Jacobs, right? So it's like, what is this season about? And it's because we're trying to find, but we're also just in a great generational transition. So we're not going to let the people go that have been supporting us, right? But we also have to grow you.
Yeah.
And it's okay if you don't want to grow, but we're going to give you the opportunity, right? And then the young ones got to learn. Yeah. It's not bubbles and sunshine like all the time. It's like, here is the progression. You got to understand, you got to know about the progression of it. Yeah.
I'm going to encourage everyone to pause if you're listening to the podcast, rewind and listen to everything Erica just said again, because you just were like, fundamental truth, truth bomb, fundamental truth. So just take a minute and re-listen to it, because I think there's so much we can sit with there.
And Clareann, I think for us as leaders too, we have, at least I can speak for 620, because 620 is rebirthing, right? It's in a new iteration. And I think that smaller organizations have this power. Yes. And so while we are heartbroken about the world of arts and the forward motion, we cannot lose fact that smaller organizations have such a huge power. And like I said, go back and read, let's start researching history. Mm-hmm. And it's these smaller organizations that actually affect change. They become larger organizations because people start to give them money and then there's a thing that happens, right? But I think that I love the fact that I get to curate a season that I want to curate. Mm-hmm. Right now, my constituency is who is my constituency? And how do I want to build it? Yeah. Right? And it's okay if you this ain't for me anymore. I respect that. I'm okay with that. So Erica, now where do we go get the who it's for? I think smaller organizations have that latitude to do that. What are your thoughts? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, right, we get to be, because the financial stakes are lower, mm-hmm. right? We can actually make the artistic stakes a little bit higher. Yeah. We can take more risks. And we're also set up to connect, I think, more organically with the people who are looking for what we're doing, mm-hmm. right? We can find these little niches, which are maybe also pockets, because that's my thing today, pockets of joy. But, and where it was a word you used maybe a year ago, nimble. Mm-hmm. We can be nimble, right? We're not bound by massive institutional structures and requirements. And we can figure out, right, where do we slip into these wonderful liminal in-between spaces to exist, to create art that can kind of pop up, surprise, and help us find our community, right? Because at the end of the day, I know we feel the same way, that we're here to serve the community. And that can manifest in a number of different ways. And is it always exactly what the community wants? Maybe not, but sometimes it's what the community needs. And how do we create that space? And when I talk about community, I mean audiences, yes, but I also mean the artists. How do we create space for artists to preserve, right, the softness, the whimsy, the creativity, and to play together, and create those magnificent synergies, which is what I think really is so fun about working on a piece with you. Is it's spectacular moments of and how do we make that for our artists, but also when we bring the audience in, how can they go how do we do that together, because those things will sustain us through Frederick's winter. Sorry, back to my little mouse.
Clareann, I want to ask as we start to wrap up, just because I think it's so important, we haven't talked about it yet. This is a co-production between the two organizations. Why did you approach it that way instead of just asking Erica to direct for Power Stories? Like, why was it important that this is studio and Power Stories together?
Well, I think there are a lot of answers to that. I mean, one of them is we share the commitment that in lean times it makes sense to come together and live together. We've also talked about that being an important model for arts in general, right? How do we create this bridge? And there's a literal bridge, right, between our organizations. But how do we build one? How do we model what this can be like, right? Collective work, collective power, really, shared creativity, shared space. But I mean, what brought me to the studio at 620, just to be perfectly honest, was Erica, because we'd worked together before when I was with another organization. We'd done a co-production, and that live together was joyous, productive, creative, and it seemed to really speak to the community, right? And how do we bring our audiences into dialogue with one another? How do we bring them together? Because we have different audiences. And those folks need to talk to each other and play together, just like we do. So, that's why.
And we all love working with Erica.
Fuck yeah, we do. Like, if you don't, you're broken.
Well, I love working with you all too, so thank you for that. I'd love to also add to that, Avery. This is, we talk to many organizations about partnering, at least I have, and it always comes back, and it always comes down to financial costs, and like, how do we do the financial thing? And I think I'm in a world that's so tense right now. People are like, how do I gotta, and I dig it, because I have to pay for a whole building, right? So it can become heavy and laborious, the trying to figure out how to partner. But I don't believe in that. Like, I don't believe it has to be heavy. I believe that you started. And what we did, I was like, Clareann, we actually have a couple of different partnerships and blueprints that we're trying. Like, I believe that for the studio standpoint, I'm speaking from the studio standpoint, that this works as a type of organization that it is supposed to be, and making these connections and partnerships. And I feel like if we can prove and show that a partnership can be a beautiful and easy lift, the money thing is we can figure that out, right? We know what we bring to the table. You keep it open. The conversations have to stay open. When something is confusing, you ask the question, right? Like, there was a question for me, and I was like, well, I just need to know, like, tell me, how are you all handling it on your end of paying a certain person? Because this is our structure on this end, and their financial department's like, give us a second. That's a great question. And they go back and they figure it out, and they came back and was like, oh, Erica, that sounds great. We can do da-da-da. I was like, perfect, right? Or if they come back and go, well, we have to have it this way. Okay, then now we got to look at this differently. So, but it's an experiment. You got to try it. That's what I love about the scientific method. I'm big on that. Like, I grew up in that world. My whole brain works like that. It's like, here it is. Here's my hypothesis. And then I got to work it. I got to test it to see the conclusion. And I think that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
In a city, St. Pete, I could say Tampa Bay, but I can specifically speak to St. Pete because I chair the Arts Advisory Committee. So in a city that's also creating a blueprint and figuring out how do you take a space this small and that wants to be considered an arts destination, what does that look like? How do we do it? So everybody is in blueprint mode right now, and if we can all just understand that and then start to connect, then we really can be a blueprint city, because St. Pete is actually, in developing and all those things, one of the blueprint cities. So people are watching. So how do we do it with the arts?
There's a million things we could keep talking about.
Of course.
And we probably will at a future time. But I want to end with some of the rapid fire questions.
Yes.
So just
I don't
gut
remember mine.
responses.
Me either.
Great, I love this for us. Clareann, we'll start with you for the first question.
Okay.
What does artistic community mean to you?
Oh, who are my playmates? That's what that means. Like, who can I play with? And again, that could be artists or audiences, but how do we come together? And when I talk about play, I just want to be clear that it's about a space, a heart space, right? Not a physical space, a heart space, a willingness to try. I guess it's almost back to that experimentation, right? How are we willing to explore, right? With an attitude we share, that this is play, that this is light, that this is wonderful, and that's not to say it's without consequence.
Sure.
So that was not a rapid answer.
But your response, like your initial response to it was.
Okay.
So we're good.
All right.
Miss Sutherlin, what does artistic community mean to you?
I'm with her. It's like, who wants to be in my sandbox? That's it. We're building castles and throwing.
Castles.
There we go.
Love it. All right, Erica.
Yeah.
In one word, what is your hope for the Tampa Bay artistic community?
Joy.
And Clareann, what is your one word? Hope for the artistic community.
Mine was also joy, but I'll take survival. Since you took joy, I'll take survival.
This is why
It's a
we're
joint
also
answer,
good. We're also
survival
good
joy.
friends. So the fact that we have the same answers is not that we rehearsed it somewhere else, but we just
Or maybe
vibe.
we did. This is the new vaudeville act that we all came to see. All right, last question, Clareann. If you could have dinner with any artist, living or past, who would it be?
No one's expecting this. Anna East Nin.
Okay, fill us in.
She was, so most folks have heard of like Henry Miller. Yeah. Anna East Nin was, took Henry Miller as a lover for a little while. She was married to someone else. She wrote some of the earliest women's erotica. She was a modernist writer, all about charting a course for women writers, for women artists, and for women's sexuality. Fascinating woman.
That would be a good dinner guest.
So good.
Yes.
Be great.
Yeah.
Can our dinner guests both be at the same dinner with us?
Yes.
Okay,
Who
Erica, who are you
you
bringing
picking?
to dinner?
Prince.
Fuck yes! All right, yeah. Oh, that's gonna be a good ass dinner.
Yeah. that.
Wait, who are you bringing to dinner? You can come too.
I don't have to answer.
I know you don't
want to start
have
your
to.
own podcast? You are welcome to. Clareann.
Oh, all right. Well, then you're not invited to dinner anymore.
Yeah, that's a four-way. I think you all can handle yourselves.
We would have a great time.
We would have
at
such a
dinner.
good
Oh my
dinner.
God.
Oh,
So
oh
sad.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Thank you both so much for coming on today and talking, and I just hope everyone goes out to see Cadillac Crew, to support the studio and all the events you have coming up, to support Power Stories, two organizations that are really embedded in the community and doing some great work. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Avery.
All right, thank you again so much for listening to this conversation. It was really one of my favorites. It was so in-depth. Clareann and Erica should probably just host their own podcast. I'm not even needed. Who needs Avery anyway? Please come out and see Cadillac Crew, the studio at 620, running this November. Also, please join us October 12th at Greenlight Cinema for a showing of Hidden Figures. Erica and Clareann will both be there to talk about the connections to the show and some of these conversations that we had today. So please come out and see us then. All right, tune in next time, and thanks so much for listening today.